today I read his newspaper, right? This one right here. And I am surprised. And he says, judges is to get $30 million in back pay. My first impression was, wow, judges are suing the state of California for getting back the salary that they think they deserve. Now there's a lesson to be learned here, and I'll just talk to you a little bit later at the end, but I think it's important to give you a little background as to what happened, in this case. During those times when California was in the physical emergency, especially back in 2008, 2009, and 2013 to 2014, John Chen, who was the state controller at that time, he decided to freeze judges' annual increases. Now, they never adjusted back. And that was an issue in this case because the judges was arguing, hey, now those physical emergency was done and it's no longer a case. Their salary was illegally withheld. So that's the issue of the case. The government, interestingly, is arguing in front of the court and saying, you know what, it's not fair to just increase judges' increase, okay? Because a lot of mass majority of the state employee will never get this kind of increase, even though they went through the furlough, even though they were under mandatory leave for that time, okay? So it's not fair, let's argue. And that's the first sign, if somebody's arguing in front of the court and say, you know what, judge, it's not fair, usually that means the law is correct, but they have nothing to argue about. And they go into this sympathy mode, try to gain some sympathy from the court, okay? And which pretty much that's the case at that time. The court pretty much said, you know what, that's not a law. Whatever state of California argue in front of the court is inconsistent with the statute. In other words, the rule is a rule, okay? It may not seem to be fair, but it's a rule. Now, last year, the Governor Brown, they did rewrite the statute and add an amendment, and to put, and I quote here in the article, they provide the calculation of annual judicial raises must take into account any state salary decrease that occurred as a result of furlough or mandatory leave. Excuse me. That was the amendment that they added to the government code last year. But the court refused to apply that retroactively because the event took place back in 2013 and 2014, and prior to that in 2008 and 2009. So, the thing here is, the rule is the rule. You need to learn what rules apply to your situation. And sometimes that's important. You consult with the competent legal counsel is to find out what your option is in your current situation, under the current case law or the statute. And these judges, obviously, they know the law, obviously. My belief is, as long as they do whatever is under the statute, they deserve it. So, rule is the rule, and there's no sympathy in the court of law. So, I'll see you next time. Thanks.